Well, Taiwan is the sixth largest market for U.S. beef exports. And this week, a delegation of Montana farmers and ranchers are joining Montana Governor Gianforte on a trade mission to Taiwan. Joining us from Taipei is the Montana Stockgrowers Association second vice president, Mr. Turk Stovall. And I would like to say good night to you, but it's actually good morning and it's night here on my end here in the Western United States. But how are things in Taipei here today?
Well, I can honestly say, Lane, this is its own part of the world, and so it's been quite the experience just to get a country boy over here into Southeast Asia, and boy, there's nothing I can compare to. And if you ever want a real experience, I sure encourage everybody to come over here because it's just a different world, and there's a tremendous amount of people here.
Now, Turk, as we look at just the impact that Taiwan has on Montana agriculture, last year, Taiwan purchased over $107 million worth of goods from the Big Sky State. And a lot of that, of course, being agricultural commodities, whether that be barley, wheat, or beef. I guess, what is it like going and meeting with one of the largest buyers of a product that you raise out on the range and also in the feedlots?
Well, you know what I was surprised? I mean, since the mid 80s, actually, Montana has had a relationship with Taiwan, and to the point it's actually called us one of our sister states. And so, really, we've had an office over here, and it actually got shut down over the past administrations. And Governor Gianforte opened it back up when he came into office. And it is absolutely eye-opening the amount of opportunity our state has here, and from wheat, barley, and beef, just going through and visiting with the different institutes here and visiting with the people that are actually using our products. I've really come to realize that Montana really means something to these consumers in this marketplace, and they're really excited that we're here, and we're here to listen to what their needs are and what we can deliver to them.
And so, Turk, as part of a trade mission, obviously you are meeting with several different groups of people over in Taiwan. What does that look like, and what does the diplomatic process look like? It's a little different from the ranch there south of Billings, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, there is the the American Institute for Taiwan works as the embassy between our two countries and is really a conduit of helping business get into here. And we had a nice meeting with them yesterday with their leadership and their director and their team. And we really got into, hey, what is the outlook here for U.S. beef and Montana products? And it is really good. And so we learned that just here in recent time, um, a Taiwanese consumer is eating more wheat than rice. So I believe the quote they gave us is wheat makes up 55% of that diet, where maybe in years past it was 100% rice. And so that has a lot to do with just the great products that are coming right from our state of Montana. And we have really good products that are really making a difference in this marketplace. You know, we got to talking about beef and where does beef sit in here, and there's really a growing demand for U.S. beef. And you know, as a board member of the Cattlemen's Beef Board, we talked about, are we making a difference here with our checkoff dollars, and are we making a difference here with the products that we're sending here? And it is. And there's looks to be a lot of growth opportunities for U.S. beef in this marketplace. And we also said, what does it look like to have a Montana label here? You know, the one thing that's been just great to be part of is our governor is all about Montana products, and he has gotten us in front of really the decision makers in this neck of the woods, and and really getting us to be able to say, hey, this is what we do back home, and this is why our products are of high quality, and they come from real families that are really living and breathing this every day to make sure that this is the best product literally in the world. And Taiwanese is virtually we've been here for 3 days, and I'm getting really the same message. You know what? They're saying we really enjoy our relationship with Montana, and we're wanting some more products here.
And Turk, there could be some producers or consumers alike tuning into this conversation, asking the questions: Why are we exporting our beef? Why aren't we keeping that beef here? We all know that we do import beef from other countries that mostly gets mixed into to burger for the most part. But I guess what is the response to that as a producer, as a leader in the cattle industry, and a promoter of beef? Why are these export markets beneficial in your eyes?
Well, it's a good thing that we raise more food in the United States than the Americans can consume. And there's just from a national security standpoint, that puts us in a great position that we can really take care of our own citizens. But to get that product, to make sure that our farmers and ranchers are really getting a good return on the hard work that they do every day, we need these export markets. We need it for wheat, we need it for barley, and we really need it for beef. And these export markets, especially here in Southeast Asia and Taiwan, they're looking for a high quality product. And that's one thing that Montanans can deliver. And it's important to our bottom line that we can continue to get them the product they want.
Now, you mentioned maybe having a Montana label and getting more Montana beef directly from the pasture to consumers' plates over in Taiwan. What would that process be like? I know you are very involved in every aspect of the beef business, from having a cow calf operation to the feeding to the finishing aspect of it. That's not an easy task, but having the support of say the executive branch in Montana, how could that benefit members of the Montana stock growers and overall livestock producers across Montana?
Well, one thing with Montana stock growers, we're constantly looking to try to see how can we drive more value to Montana cattle and to Montana ranches that really live and breathe raising cattle for their livelihood. And so looking at the opportunity to have a Montana product abroad only makes sense. And we're not here to talk about, hey, why can't we do it? Let's talk about how can we do it. And definitely, trying to line up the entire supply chain is more than complicated. But we have put a tremendous amount of assistance over the last several years and to help our processors in state get up and going. And one thing that Stockgrowers is trying to help do is facilitate some of those relationships from the ranch to the feed yard and to Montana processors to get right back into consumers' hands. And this only makes sense to continue that conversation here abroad. And number one, is there a demand? Well, it doesn't take long to find out. There is a demand. If you say you're from Montana and you're a cattle rancher from Montana, they want to know how to do business with us. And one thing I do love about Governor Greg Gianforte, every time he finishes up a talk here to one of the groups, he'll end it with, just so everyone is clear, Montana is open for business. And there's no doubt that our executive branch has probably been more beneficial to the businessman, to the rancher, and to the farmer than it has in a long time. And Governor Gianforte and their team have been just over the top of helpful of trying to get all of us in front of the right people to have the right conversations. And we really want to try to drive that home to where we can make a difference into Montana cattle producing pockets.
Now, obviously, understanding the culture of the Taiwanese people and going out and seeing their history and understanding more about that culture almost can give you a look at what maybe those buying preferences may be, and having a respect for that heritage. You have been able to go out and about and see some of these cultural sites with your fellow Montana delegation. What has that been like, just getting to take in more of the culture there in Taiwan?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the history here is really old. And it makes you just put in perspective of how young the United States as a country is, as well as how young the state of Montana is. And when you're walking into these cultural sites, you just get a sense of feeling that, my goodness, I mean, there is this culture has been in development for a really long time, and you can get a big appreciation for that. And I love history anyway, so it's a big deep dive to where it's mind blowing on just on the detail that they will do, um, just to um, just for a cultural standpoint, from if that's carvings or if that's paintings, or just we took a lot of time and looked at the language and the letters that they have written thousands of years ago, and they preserved it well. And so that's been it's been eye opening, and it actually just gives a really new appreciation for the area and the culture.
Now, obviously, being on the ground, it does take time away from the home operations and your duties back here in the Big Sky State. But for you, how important is it that there is a boots on the ground presence during these important talks and relationship building? Obviously, the world changed during COVID-19. There was a lot of Zoom meetings and just a lot of difficulties in maintaining trade relationships. But in your opinion, how important is it to be boots on the ground as a producer, meeting these potential buyers and decision makers on the diplomatic level?
Well, and I tried to get a shot in the background here, but if right here isn't a lot of people behind me, but if you can't tell, Lane, there's not a lot of cowboy hats around. So when we walk into a room, and you know, I'm the I'm the only, I guess, the delegation person from the Montana Stockgrowers Association that's solely focused on what can we do for the Montana cattle industry. And so when you know, I I can tell I know I'm already a little different looking guy anyway, but when I walk in, it uh, you can tell that they haven't seen very many guys in a cowboy hat, and you get to talking about what's ranching like. I showed them a few photos of, when I left there. Actually, let's see, it had been on Friday. We were in. I wouldn't call it a blizzard, but it was definitely snow. And so, when I show them, hey, this is what I just came from, they could tell. I mean, this is just it's meaningful, and it creates a new relationship, and it opens up comfort to communicate and talk about ideas and develop a relationship. And how can we work together? We're all just people on this planet trying to make it better for everybody. And how can we do that together? And I think that's been lost in some cases, through our past several years with COVID and us trying to stay away from each other. I think there's a big draw to that we need to get back out and shake the hands and look each other in the eye and say, you know what, I want to do a good job for you, and I know we can, and I know we have great products in our state that can make a difference where you're at, and that makes a difference.
Now that building behind you, that is that a little taller than the Sheridan, or I mean the Doubletree Hotel and the First Interstate Bank buildings there in Billings? Is that just a tad bit taller?
It is. I'm going to try to go and get it up here, but they're up until gosh, I can't remember what year they said. It was early 2000. That was the tallest building in the world, and that's called Taipei 101. I'm not a very good video guy here, uh, but anyway, when you go up there, it will. It's also the fastest elevator. Um, it won the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest elevator. I'll send you a shot of it. I took a picture of that too. But when you get in there and you're at the bottom, I think it's I don't remember how tall it is. It's tall, but it it goes 1,000 meters a minute,
Wow.
and so you virtually on a rocket once you get into that elevator, and you get up to the top there, and it's pretty eye opening, and you can see a long ways, and that's been fun. And you know what? Not only the culture sites, another thing that's been fun is just the food's different, and I'll have to share with you, and I know you'd get a kick out of this, to being at the table with other fellow Montanans, and we're all eating with chopsticks. Now that I should take more pictures of that, because there's been quite a bit of the food not make the plate or the mouth and kind of get on the floor, but that's been pretty eye opening. And yesterday we ate, I believe it was called monk soup, and had really good flavor. Had some, I would almost call it value added products from the fish, and not sure what was in there, but it sure had a good flavor. And that's been quite the discussion amongst the group too. Just the food I've been eating.
Well, one thing I'll say, when I was a state FFA officer, we traveled out to the wheat marketing center in Portland and they taught us how to use chopsticks. So I'll put a feather in my hat there that once in a while I do, you know, uh, clean off my chopsticks so there's no splinters on there. So next time I'll join you, or we'll go out to lunch sometime. We'll
Yeah,
show each
I
other's skills off.
I am getting better at it, but I don't know.
But, Turk, obviously, you have a few more days left, there in Taiwan. I guess one area I know your arm's probably getting tired from holding your phone, so I don't wanna hold you up too much longer, and I know you have to hit the road here, there this morning and this evening here in Montana. But, what has maybe been the talk about, the environment and sustainability with some of these buyers? Is that something that these consumers wanna know more about, or are they more focused on the quality of the beef that's being cultivated and raised there in Montana. I guess what's your take and what's been that feedback?
So I actually believe Governor Gianforte asked about that, just the evolution of the consumer, and um, the group that we were with yesterday really talked about the new generation, and for sure the new generation is saying, hey, product quality is very important. I want something that's safe, but they also want to know more about its sustainability. And ESG came up yesterday, and that's going to be more of a topic all the time from that group's opinion for the new generation of consumers here in this marketplace. And not only you can see it, they're already living conservation of just everyday life now. So, for an example, in our hotel room, you have to put your key in a slot on the wall for the lights to work. So that means is when you leave, it'll shut down in a matter of seconds. And so you can pick up on little things like that to where conservation is becoming much more of a reality, and right, wrong, or indifferent, it's going to be an expectation at some.
Now, and I'm not sure if you can discuss this or not, but obviously there's some geopolitical tension in that part of the world, of course, between Taiwan and China. I guess what has that been like? Have you felt any tension? Have any of the delegations discussed this?
It actually hasn't been a primary discussion. Um, Truthfully, I think everybody's just wanting to be people, and how can we just let's focus on what we can control, and how can we work better. Now, what happens on the bigger scale, that I do think, of course, there's an overlying concern and worry. But has that been in the everyday discussion? It hasn't really. I mean, it has come up, but a conversation moves on pretty quick, more to, hey, how can we work together?
Again, Turk Stovall, second vice president of the Montana Stockgrowers Association, and also a member of the Cattlemen's Beef Board. Turk, any last thoughts before I let you rest your arm and let you get back to your trade mission out there in Taiwan?
Well, I think the one thing I just want to encourage everybody is I think it's really important, if you're going to be serious in the cattle raising business, just get yourself informed, and for sure work with the Montana stock growers, or listen to shows like yours to get informed, because I believe this marketplace is moving, and it's moving quickly, and we want to make sure that our Montana ranchers are as informed as possible to be able to adjust to those marketplaces, because we need them to be viable for a long time, and we need this next generation in Montana, because we need to keep Montana. And the only way I believe, and I'm biased about that, is we need to have the next generation to be able to be profitable and take these ranchers over from our families.
Well, again, Turk Stovall joining us this evening. It's morning in Taipei, Taiwan, on a trade mission, joining fellow farmers and ranchers from Montana that are on that trade mission with Governor Greg Gianforte. So, with that, Turk, we appreciate you joining us here today from over the ocean. Take care over there this week.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Lane. Appreciate it.
Again, thank you all for joining us here on this live stream with Turk Stovall, joining us there from Taiwan here today. Thanks for joining us on this special Fence Lines and Headlines report on the Western Ag Network. I'm Lane Nordlund. We'll catch you next time.